news is because there's so much that they are unraveling, and they have to unravel to truly get themselves the America they want, the things that they want. And it's so much of people realizing that you did not know, you do not understand, and none of us do. Even the most informed person is not thinking about, is not aware of every magnitude of policy, legislation, battle won, and everything for the place that you live in. You're not thinking about that. Like, you're not understanding the magnitude of what has had to happen thus far to get you the things that you don't think are enough. You know what I mean? And aren't enough. They are inadequate, and there should be more. And you are right to say, like, they should be doing more. There is more that should be happening. Like, the Democrats and who we have and the people that are fighting for us are not doing enough to give us more and that we deserve, and we are still drastically, underserved. All that could be true, and it could still be true that now what happens is when you didn't feel like, oh, no one could sell you, and like, oh, you're not getting enough, it's not happening fast enough, yada, 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 whatever have you. You slid, so we slid. We are now going to start from so much weight to lose. I feel like, oh Jesus, it's like not been in the gym in 20 years. By the time Trump is done, like, we have to go. It's so much work. Like, so much has to be fucking done. Also, like, I hate that this analogy works. I want to just let it be clear, like, it works for these purposes, but I don't co-sign whatever, like, fatphobic thing that this analogy may be.
I myself may be,
you know what I mean? Like, this isn't about like, weight loss medal. Like, this is just the analogy works. You see what I was saying here? That's all.
Billy, did you ever think? Because I was going to put a pin in the fact that I did want to bring up that I think people take credit for, or at least the problem is sometimes people assume that a lot of the stuff that is good that you're mentioning came as a direct result of simply the Democrats existing, when some of those aspects, multiple things can be true at once, some of those aspects came from a lot of civil rights movements, including like the LGBTQ plus movement that the Democrats
most of
a long time were in opposition to. Yeah, most of them. And then all of a sudden they start to absorb it, as do companies, right? They start doing rainbow washing, and all of a sudden when we get a problem like Trump coming in, all of a sudden all these companies are like, oh, we're dropping DEI, we're dropping LGBTQ plus support, we're doing all this kind of stuff in real time. It's because those companies don't give two fucks about these issues. These issues, and the reason people supported them, came up for the first fight because people were fighting and dying for
them, right? You're incredibly right? Like, yes, it is the people. It's never about these parties. Do not care about you. These politicians do not care about you. These corporations do not care about you. They do what is in their best interest and what the times reflect. But the reality is, this is why I said during the entire election season, the reason why you vote for your weakest adversary, the reason why is because, again, people are who are creating the change, and they need conditions where they can create that change. You can't force Republicans and all these people to do shit. That's why you're losing all this shit immediately. The Democrats don't care about you. These corporations don't care about you, but they care about the environment around it and what power you have to affect them. So if you have none, you know what I mean? If you put the most powerful opposition to you in place, you can't even push people to do the things that would benefit you that they would not do from the... It's like, I've said this all the time.
Yep. Another video, folks. Nighttime here. And this is my whole point of this video, like a little clip. This is part of a 1-hour video. And this is my point exactly. And she was right. She said this before the election. It's better to have the Democrats win than Trump. Because we were saying, like, Trump is the fascist, and they're bringing up Project 2025. Everybody was saying that, but a lot of people was ignoring it, and some on the left were completely ignoring it, and they're covering for Donald Trump, like TYT. They just lie to their audience. But I'm right. That's all I was saying, folks. The Democrats are easier to push. Easier, but Trump is gonna. You can't push the Republicans. They're just gonna get rid of. They cut everything. That's what they're doing now. They're doing atrocious. More than that, they're actually being fascists. It's even worse. So she's right. She said the Republicans are far worse. It's better to elect the Democrats. And she's right again. And they're talking about the the politicians, the Democrats, they don't care about the people. Hey, she's right too. Everybody knows that. They don't care about you. But if you put pressure on them, they would care. That's the thing. If you could put pressure on them, they would care. That's what she's talking about. And the movement, you get change, has to come from the grassroots up. Like she's a public defendant and an activist, so she knows. See, Cenk doesn't like the activists. Cenk Uygur, these other, I don't know, centrists or not only leftists. See, I don't know if they consider that guy a leftist. I mean, a lot of the centrists and the corporate Democrats, they don't like the activists. But that's where the movement comes from. They're scared of it because it comes from the ground up. Grassroots comes from that. That's where you could form the large coalition between the liberals and maybe the centrists. Not MAGA people, but people in the middle, maybe. You get a grassroots movement, a populist movement from the ground up. You don't do top down, you're not going to get anything done. But that's how you win elections, from the bottom up. But yeah, the thing is crazy. But they're saying they're saying what exactly right. It's exactly right, and that's what I've been saying it before the election, and she's been saying it, and I even promote video. This guy talking about Project 2025. I promote that guy's video. I shared it, and Trump still won. So, but yeah, exactly right. And what else?
I don't care for power to love and respect me. I don't it's not about whether or not I think white people or anybody else have a genuine love for black people or any other marginalized identity. I don't give a shit. What I care about is how we affect the conditions so that it is uncomfortable, it is difficult for you to oppress me. It's not about what you want to do in your heart. I never in my life believed that any of these people that did any of the things that we want did it because we want to. Is because you changed the time. It's the reason why bail reform and stuff comes on the heels of like a Khalif Browder, because conditions, something happens in which where the people on the ground are able to take that and galvanize and inform people, and those people are able to pressure the weak party that's in power that was doing those things. They don't give a shit, you know what I mean? But they do answer. There is some level of them being answerable to you or being accountable to you. There's none of that.
New Jersey is a great example. That's bail reform is perfect. New Jersey's bail reform was passed under Chris Christie, who I don't really think cares. I mean, I don't know Chris Christie, whatever, of course, but I don't think that was like his pet issue. You know, I don't think that was something he was all that passionate about. But
exactly,
New Jersey's bail reform program was extremely successful.
Yep, and they got it in 2014, and no one said shit. Meanwhile, in 2020 in New York, I'm like, we out here fighting for our life to save bail reform. And still, you know what I mean? Bail reform is constantly under attack, and it's under attack anywhere that it is, you know? So...
but that's why I don't agree with people now who are starting to say that the Democrats need to pivot to like more center-right policies.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's stupid.
I don't think that's the pathway forward. I think Gavin Newsom and all the other people who are being
That's the thing. That's what they want. That's what James Carville wants. That's the thing, folks. They hate the leftists, the Democratic Party. Still a centrist party. It's not a left-wing party. Although there's there's progressives in there and liberals, but it's not a left-wing. It's not a left-wing party. Still a centrist party. And they don't want the leftists in there. They hate the left. So I'm afraid it's going to be the same old corporate Democrats. One of them is going to run in 2028, if there's a 2028.
Like, well, we can't talk about trans issues anymore. Donald Trump won that issue as if like civil rights are a thing to win in a debate or something like that. Like, I think the majority of people don't want diet Republicans who would otherwise be looking for an alternative. They already get the real thing. Right? With Donald Trump, you get it all.
I completely agree with that, right? Like, this is the thing I always like. the problem with having like the Democrats are not genuine, right? Whatever, they don't care about you. Like they're not like genuinely invested in your issues, right? So they're gonna move with the tides, and that's why it's important to not let the tides move so right. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna move over there, even though, and if they're not moving over there because it's more effective, right? Like because it doesn't make any sense. Like to me, there's no logical reason why, their takeaway would be, oh, we should move far right now, right? Like, no, people are outraged. You should become a strong opposition. But I knew that they weren't going to do that. I understand, like, that's not what's going to happen. And that's how do I put what it is that I think is the problem, right? It's like, oh, I the problem with saying like, oh, we're not gonna fight on trans issues, we're not gonna fight on all these different things, is because you never did. Like that's the thing. That's the thing that's really the issue. And the reason why they're okay with moving to the right on those issues is because they're to the right on those issues. Like they only move with us. You know what I mean? So they feel like, oh, it's an environment, and if there's no right wing, we're in right wing times now, a right wing ass environment that's so far right, they don't feel the pressure to feel like they need to pretend, you know what I mean, or like, appease you on this side of the aisle. And that's the unfortunate part. But that's why, again, the people always mistake. Again, thinking that the Democrats, there's that it's optimal or in your best interest to vote for the Democrats in particular scenarios. They always mistake that to me, and I'm saying the Democrat is my friend, or that I believe in the Democrats, or that I believe the Democrats care about you. I've made it very clear. They're oppositional parties. They all are. You know what I mean? They are your adversaries. It is a problem. You don't want to fight the strongest guy. It's just that simple, especially because the Democrats, by calling them weak, it's like the Democrats do what I expect a weak party to do, what a weak adversary does. And they
Exactly, folks. That's the whole point. As we've been saying all along, you don't let the Trump win, because a lot of people on the so-called left, I wouldn't say a lot, but some, and even liberals, they said it's better if Trump win, because he's easier to move. He's gonna do a lot of screw ups. It's easier to move. But you don't let the fascists win. See what happened? So he might lose, or he might just not give up the government. We'll see. So maybe he might lose the election in 2028, the Republicans, but at what cost? People being hurt. And it's going to be so bad that, I don't know. But maybe by then it's going to be total collapse. And I don't know. It'd be terrible, folks. It might be a civil war before that. Who knows? The way things are going. But it's terrible. And you don't let the strongest party win. She's right. Especially when they're fascists. That's another thing. I mean, the real fascists, not like a neo-fascist. Because sometimes the Democrats become the kind of like neo-fascists in a way, sometimes. But this is actually real fascists taking over.
Go a little more. Where they think is safest. They try to get in the comfort and the good graces of power.
Did you follow the Lake and Riley Act?
Yes.
I think this is like the perfect example of what you're saying. So for your listeners who aren't familiar, the Lake and Riley Act was passed in the wake of a Georgia woman's murder. She was a nursing student murdered by someone who was here unlawfully in Jose Ibarra. And essentially the Lake and Riley Act in response passed a litany of like very draconian immigration restrictions, like having state attorneys general be able to sue to stop certain parole decisions that have nothing to do with her murder.
Wow.
But a lot of Democrats voted for it because of the emotional packaging, and I think that they were worried that if they didn't vote for it, it would be a PR crisis. And I don't know if you all saw yesterday, but a Democratic congresswoman was on CNN. She says, "I regret voting for that." And I'm thinking, of course you do. I mean. The Lake and Riley Act, for instance, the state attorneys general being able to sue to stop certain
that's crazy
immigration from recalcitrant countries, which basically means if the Trump administration decides that a country isn't accepting repatriated citizens quickly enough, they can just say we can revoke all immigration from that country. or sue to stop it. I don't understand what at all that has to do with this woman's murder. And I think it's a perfect example of why laws named after people are usually really bad, because they pass all these terrible regulations under the guise of this emotional packaging that people feel obligated to go along with, or they'll be, pilloried in public. Richie Torres, for instance, I wrote a piece about this, and he said, well, I didn't support this bill, but I voted for it because I thought if I didn't, it would make Democrats look out of touch. As if the job of any party is to worry about bad optics over bad laws, which just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
They're very much so like that. Like I've seen, there's a Democrat that I'll leave their name out of it, but I remember speaking to them about Rikers, like getting on the phone with them, and there are people, whatever, trying to convince them, like, okay, what's going on with the issue with Rikers, yada, yada, yada. Like, and not even trying to get them to do anything, like, take a visit to Rikers, go look at Rikers. And they're like, yeah, I hear you, but I'm scared of being on the bad side of Eric Adams. Like, I'm scared of, like, publicly how to look. You know what I mean? And I realize then so many of them are like that. And the unfortunate fucked up part isn't even just that they're like that, which it is. Like, the level of cowardice and weakness in terms of being a representative and using the power that you've been given is deplorable. But that's not even the only terrible part to me. The other terrible part is the fact that there's truth in what they're saying. It's like, so much of politics does not come down to what is actually happening, but the optics and the headlines and the messaging and what, like, people were able to market. Because when I think of, for example, when Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush in their last races, both of them had it used against them, and specifically, like, in particular in Jamal Bowman's campaign, they both, at one point in time, they voted against an infrastructure bill to be, like, in support of Biden, to say, like, they were, they did it as like a kind of nuanced protest of, like, oh, we want the original infrastructure bill that Joe Biden, because he knew it was going to pass anyway. When he wanted the original infrastructure bill, he wanted, but not the one that was watered down, whatever concessions from the Republicans. But the way that was that was framed in the ads that ran nonstop in New York was that Jamal Bowman is not playing ball with the Democrats, that he is against Joe Biden. He didn't vote for this infrastructure bill. Meanwhile, he voted for this infrastructure bill. He did vote against it in this, like, nuanced little political play, but nuanced political play doesn't translate in ad. You know what I mean? Like, this ad that's playing nonstop in Planet Fitness. So all these people, like, that are on your side, they voting for your ticket. They want you to be, like, to be working with the president, working with your president, working with your party. Look how easy it is when you were trying to, do this little thing to get painted as though you're against it. So that's another, like, to me, just an example of how there is some truth to how these different policy decisions are framed and how different things are being messaged and packaged. Depending on how you vote, they can weaponize it and against you, because no one cares about the facts. Like, the facts isn't what travels as fast.
Right. It's like how when the Patriot Act passed in 2001, 2002, it was one Democrat who voted against it. Everyone else voted in favor, and she was vindicated.
Yeah. I love
Still
that part.
hasn't been repealed either, which is pretty wild. Yeah.
I know she was, like, at home, really, like, think about how long she had to be, like, in the gallows by herself. Like.
I think that was Barbara Lee. They're gonna mention it too, Barbara Lee. But yeah, folks. So what do you think of that? Good discussion about the Democrats. And my point is this: that there's many points to this, but I guess that it's not about the movement or getting power. Not about taking over the Democrats like some they want to do. Cenk Uygur. It's about getting primaries. It's about winning primaries. It's about like doing activism on the grassroots, getting things and putting pressure from the grassroots up, building a movement, and remembering that these parties don't care about you. She's right. They really care about more the elites, especially the Democrats. They don't care, so you got to put pressure on them Anyways, folks, it's late. I'm gonna sign off. So until the next video, what do you think of this? I'm out.